Hi, I'm Darlene and welcome to Super 60. You know, I don't normally film at night. It is about 6 o'clock, so it's a little bit late for me and it's been a long day, but I found this really cute recipe. It's an old recipe. It's called election cake, and I thought, you know what? I want to know what that tastes like, and what perfect timing, right? November 2022. We are in for a big election coming up this next week, and yeah, time for all of us to get out there and push that vote button, right? So anyway, I'm gonna make election cake. Together we'll make it, and we'll see what is it all about. You know, there's gotta be some kind of history to it. Where it got its name. I don't know. I'll have to dig into it a little bit more, but it is a very old cookbook that it comes from. Somewhere originating in the state of Connecticut. So if you're from Connecticut, maybe you know all about election cake. Maybe you even made election cake. I don't know. Let me know. I'm really curious to know. So here we go. The leavening agent in this cake is going to be yeast. So it's a yeast bread, but it's a sweet bread. It's got all kinds of yummy, delicious things in it. The flavors are very special to this season. You know, the cloves and the pumpkin spices, the apple pie spices, the cinnamon, all that kind of stuff. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. I hope I am. I mean, I hope it's good. So we're going to start out the recipe tonight, and we're going to let it sit while we go night-night. Yeah. I love recipes like this. They do all the work for you while you're upstairs sleeping. Okay, so we're going to get started over here at the mixer. All right, let's go ahead and begin with 1 cup of nice warm water. Okay. To that, we're going to add, now the recipe calls for 1 packet of yeast, but I don't buy the packets, I buy it in bulk. So if you do too, a packet is 2 teaspoons and 1/4. All right, we need 1 tablespoon of sugar. Using my mom's sugar bowl. Put that right in there. Perfect. Okay. And 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Now you can use the oil of your choice. I love coconut oil. It's a healthy oil. You can use, I believe the recipe calls for a salad oil. I think that's kind of cute. But you can use a vegetable oil or a canola oil. I'm sure that is just fine. And 2½ cups of flour. Good. Let's go ahead and get this going. Mix that up real well. All right, here it is. It's just looking like that. It's just like a little sponge, I guess you could call it. The whole rest of the cake I'm gonna basically build in this big bowl, so I wanted to make sure I started with a big bowl. All right, so here we go. Just gonna cover it up for the night. Put my little shower cap back on it, and this will keep it nice and moist for the duration of the evening. And I will see you guys first thing bright and early in the morning. All right, good morning. Yep, had a good night's sleep. I hope you guys did too. All right, you saw a picture of how the yeast mixture proofed last night. It proofed and fell, which is fine. It's exactly what it needs to do. I found out a little bit more information on this election cake. Sometime in the 1700s, it goes all the way back that far, before the women had the right to vote. Apparently they decided to make a very tasty cake and have it for their husbands for the meal. And at that time they would sit down and discuss with their husbands of their issues and how they would hope that the husband would vote for them, in essence, because they didn't have the right to vote. Can you even imagine that now? But hey. So that's kind of how that's the story that I read, and I read it a couple times, so I wanted to make sure I had something to tell you guys, and I wanted to know myself because I'm so curious. Election cake, but that's how it came to be. And the reason it makes so much is because a lot of these women would bake these things, go to the election site, the voting site, and they would have these loaves to present to people that they wanted to bribe, I guess, essentially, to vote for their candidate. So election cake, I don't know. Let's not even go there. Okay? Let's just not even go there. Go vote. Tuesday, time to vote, right? All right, back into the cake here. All right, down in my bowl, I have 2 sticks of really nice soft butter, 1 cup of butter, and I also have 2 cups of packed dark brown sugar. I'm gonna just kind of cream them up a little bit. All right, and now we're gonna add 4 already slightly beaten eggs. And then we need a tablespoon of lemon rind. That's probably about the rind of 1 lemon. Oh boy, I just love the smell of the rind of citrus. It just smells so good. The lemon, the orange is particularly sweet. I love it, just love it. All right, take just about all of this. This is a good sized lemon. All right, in here I'm gonna add a few little things here. Here is some just regular all bleached flour. You know, as always, the recipe for this will all be down below. And in here is some baking soda and some salt. You know, your typical baking stuff, the typical things that they would have had back then too. In here are kind of a combination of winter, fall type spices, the warm spices. There's some cinnamon, mace. You kind of have your choice, I guess. You could use mace, cinnamon, nutmeg, a couple other of those spices. But you know what I did? I just dipped into my pumpkin pie spice. If you want to do that, all those spices are in here. So I'm just kind of cheating a little bit. You could also use, if you have an apple pie spice, that would work absolutely just fine. All right, just go ahead and give that a good whisk. Okay, I've tried not to make too many substitutions, changes in this bread or in this cake because I wanted it to be as authentic as possible. But on the other hand, keep in mind, it makes a great deal of cake. It makes 3 good-sized loaves. So I wanted to make sure that there were ingredients in there that, you know, we were gonna eat. So the cake calls for 2 cups of raisins. I like raisins, we like raisins. I don't know if I like 2 cups worth of raisins though. So I substituted a cup of raisins and a cup of dried cranberries. You can do that too. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely wonderful. Also, it calls for a cup of whiskey or bourbon, and you can soak the raisins in that. Some of you might just totally enjoy that flavor and go for it because it is probably going to be delicious. I opted out of that this morning, so in place and you can do this because I read it in other recipes as well. I read other recipes. There's several different types and I just kind of combined a couple too here. The other one is, instead of using the whiskey, you could use apple juice, a cup of apple juice, and pour that over your raisins and let them plump up for a little while before you add it to the recipe. I use buttermilk. Yeah, because it has the acidity in there, kind of like that lemon peel. That's what we're going for. So I think the buttermilk is going to be fantastic. I really do. I'm actually kind of excited to use that. So I am going to put in some vanilla here, and of course there is bourbon in my vanilla. So there'll be a little bit of that flavor in there. All right, let's go ahead and put in our dry ingredients. And at this time, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla. And maybe a little bit more. Live dangerously. All right, now I'm gonna add those buttermilk soaked raisins and cranberries, and those are sweetened cranberries. All right, let's go ahead and put this mixture in now with the yeast mixture. And then we're gonna be ready to fill the pans, which I need to spray real well. Oh, this smells so good. This is gonna be fantastic. It really is. I would be shocked if I taste this and I have a sad face. I'll be really, really surprised. I wanna know what went wrong, and knowing me, I will probably make it again until I get it right. All right, now let's go ahead and stir that all up. Boy, that is an interesting feel. Very, very interesting. Just gonna keep stirring that around. Oh, you can really feel those strands of the yeast bread on the bottom, and you wanna make sure you get that all combined. All right, well, believe it or not, they took almost an hour in the oven. Now I had 3, they call them mini loaves, but you could see those red pans. Those are not the mini minis. Those are, they're almost full size. They really are, not quite, but almost. They filled those 3 full, and then another regular size bread pan. So you get a lot out of those. If you had a lot of those little tiny minis, you could probably make almost a dozen of these. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay. Okay. I definitely taste the raisins, cranberry, the cinnamon, the brown sugar with the molasses. You can taste that. Oh. That is the most delicious cake. It's very different, but it is good. I'm telling you, that brandy would have been really good in there. Maybe a half a cup, but it would have been very, very good. I think the apple juice would have been good too, and the buttermilk. It's beautiful in here. It's got a little bit of a tang to it. You love this. This is a fine, fine, delicious treat your family and friends are gonna love. And how about, instead of taking an extra cake along to bribe the constituents, let's not do that, no. But let's take some extra loaves and share the love for those election officials that work so hard from sunup to sundown. My dad was one of those, and he worked so very hard, long into the nights, many election nights. So I'll see you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm Darlene. This is Super at 60. I'll see you very soon. Bye now. Lord bless.